Jack Hallows, how did you get into the fitness industry?
Well, mate, great question. Really well phrased as well.
Thank you. I just said fitness industry beforehand.
We've had an interesting intro.
Jack, how did you get into the fitness? Let's run that again. One line.
I'm going to need that clip for my next blooper roll.
Yeah. You wouldn't know this is the 60th episode or something. Fitness. How long have you been doing fitness for?
About 5 minutes.
Funny you bring up Fintis.
Yeah. It was actually my stripper name when I worked in Darlinghurst.
Now I can't even start.
Yeah, the funny thing is though, like this is like representative of the fact you've done 60 episodes, because the first 5, if you did this, you'd freak out because you'd be like, I fucked it. Whereas like,
I said fitness.
Yeah,
I mean fitness.
Yeah, you try and save it and shit. Whereas like when you're comfortable and you're like, I've done this before, you're just kind of like, this first sentence, we good. Like we just start again.
We might actually keep that as the intro. I think that'll be, yeah.
I think that's a good intro. Yeah. Good fun. Nah, man, look, great question. And I think it's important to kind of have that context before we kind of move into any of the stuff that we do talk about with like the informational stuff, because people kind of, I think I can come across as a little bit, I don't know, like I like to have the evidence, science-based stuff behind a lot of my content, but I can almost kind of come across a little bit like emotionally charged sometimes when I talk about things that I'm passionate about. And that is simply because I got into the fitness industry. So rewind to 2015, 2016, I'm in uni studying music of all things, and I play guitar.
No way.
Yeah.
I studied music too.
I saw you when I looked up your podcast. I was like, hey, there he is on Spotify.
No way.
Yeah.
What did you study?
So I studied at JMC. I studied
What's
contemporary
JMC? Sorry.
JMC Academy. It's like a performing arts kind of uni, similar to AIM. Do you know AIM? Like the
I'm
Australian
from New Zealand, so I don't really know.
Okay, yeah, true. So
Yeah,
it's basically like a performance arts college, basically. So
Right.
they have like music, they have gaming, they have like sound design and stuff.
Right.
It was a cool like couple of years of my life. So
Yeah,
I got a bachelor's of contemporary music and performance.
In majoring in guitar?
Yeah. So I majored in guitar. So it was like a 2-year degree, trimesters, and basically the whole point was like you did music theory and all that sort of stuff. You learned how to like record yourself and all that sort of thing. But the main crux of it was every 3 months you had a performance. So you'd get up with a band and you'd perform as like these self-designated bands, and then your final thing was like you had to get up and do a front. Like you had to be the front man of the performance, basically. So for me, I was like the typical, antisocial recluse. I declined to use a band and made everything super hard for myself, made all these MIDI backing tracks and stuff, and did all these basically played like the vocal melodies of all these songs on guitar, almost like I was kind of singing from the guitar kind of thing. Super fun, super fun. And when I was in uni, I sort of, like my girlfriend at the time, she started to get into like F45 and stuff. I'd just torn my ACL playing cricket. So
Right.
I had my first like major injury and stuff. My body was starting to break down from like a super young age. I'd done an ACL. I'd had an injury in my spine, like a stress fracture in my lower back. I'd had an Achilles problem. So like
All from cricket?
all from cricket. So it was like cricket and soccer were basically like the 2 sports I played, and I just couldn't get through seasons without getting injured. I'd kind of do a season, get hurt, go rehab it, come back, be strong because I'd done all the rehab, and then have like 6 months off and then come back and get injured again, basically. So it was like, I'd kind of sort of needed something to move away from that on like the physical side. I didn't enjoy F45 at all, which has been a nice theme for the last kind of like 10 years. So I kind of just got into, my parents had a like home gym. We just had like a bench, barbell, squat rack, a couple of dumbbells in the garage. My mum had been kind of working out a little bit. My brother had been working out a little bit. My dad had been staring at it and pretending to work out a little bit. So I was like, cool, like I'm going to like just start lifting some weights. I got into like tracking my calories and stuff because I was kind of like, I want to lose a little bit of body fat, get some abs and stuff. I was like, I'm almost 20 years old, want to have abs properly for the first time in my life and stuff. And that was great. It was like a real kind of measured, I was training like 2-3 days a week, and I was tracking food a little bit here and there. I was playing like kind of recreational soccer with my friends and stuff. And then when I finished uni, broke up with my girlfriend, had a lot of like kind of traumatic family stuff that kind of happened around that time, huge amounts of changes, like in a really short period of time. And it was kind of like, I sort of realized after doing uni with music, it's like you either go and become a teacher, you become famous, or it's a hobby. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, for me, I guess this is a hobby. I was like, I don't want to go and be a teacher. I'm not going to go and become famous as a guitar player or anything like that. I had no real want to do that anyway. So it's just kind of like, okay, what am I going to do? So I decided to take a bit of a gap year and kind of go off and do my own thing. And in that time, a friend of mine was like, hey, we should join the gym. Like, we should train. We should go do this stuff. Like, you've been lifting weights. I've been lifting weights at home. Let's go and actually get jacked. Let's get hench. Both of us like 75 kilos. Like soaking wet at like 21. We're like, let's go do it. So he was working as a Sparky. So every day at like 3:30 when he knocked off work, we'd go gym, we'd train. I look back on those programs now and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
these
what
like
was
sessions. Oh, dude, like I found a video from 2017 of me doing like a shoulder workout.
Yeah.
And I had 5 sets of rear delt flies. I had 5 sets of dumbbell shoulder press, 4 sets of machine shoulder press, then 3 sets of this like front raise to lateral raise to rear delt fly dumbbell circuit thing. Then we did bis and tries. And then for some unknown reason, we then went back to shoulders and did like Smith machine shoulder presses and stuff.
Just because you haven't done enough pressing. Yeah.
Dude, we must have been there for like 3-4 hours, honestly. But you know, you're 21 years old, you got nothing else to do. You might as well, right? And I just started to really enjoy it. I noticed change in my body. I was like, oh my God, I got bicep veins for the first time in my life. Like my abs are looking pretty good. Yeah. So I just got into watching all the fitness content, which at the time was all guys like Christian Guzman and stuff, like, you know, all that Alpha League guys and everything. Yeah. And a lot of bodybuilding content. And I sort of didn't manage to differentiate between bodybuilding and just training to look good, feel good, all that sort of stuff. I went down that super strict route of being like, right, Stairmaster, you know, first thing when I wake up in the morning, I have to go to the gym to do the Stairmaster, and I have to like fast till midday, and then I have to only drink black coffee till midday, and then it's first meal, like I'm breaking my fast with high protein and stuff, and then I have to have my carbs around training or I'm going to get fat and all that sort of thing. And I basically just started like doing what a lot of people do, where they just kind of try to take the next step with their fitness journey, but end up falling for all the bullshit because they don't really know where to turn. They get sucked in by all the pretty lights and the kind of pretty edits and all that sort of stuff and everything. And so I ended up kind of going down that road. And I remember coming home one day from the gym and I was like, I'm super hungry, like so hungry. Like I'd been eating like 1,900 calories a day every day, or trying to, for like 3-4 months. I'd been doing 30,000 steps a day, some days training twice a day, cardio, like, and again, bearing in mind, a lot of this was too because I was kind of fill a void in my life that I hadn't really got anything going on. I wasn't working, I wasn't studying, didn't have a girlfriend. A lot of my friends were still studying or working, so I was pretty bored. But dude, I was just obsessive, like over and over and over and over and over again. And I got home and I was like, I'm super hungry. So I made myself dinner and then I just couldn't stop eating. And I remember like genuinely just everything, like literally eating blocks of cheese, and like I remember taking muesli out of the cupboard and eating dry muesli by the spoon because I was so desperate to eat. And I just had this massive like binge episode basically. And then the fucked up thing in my head was I finished this binge episode and I'm sitting there like food coma wise and I'm like, well, I gotta go burn this off. So I went out in the backyard and I started doing like a hit circuit at like 10 p.m. in the garage gym, like because I was like, I have to burn this off. And I sort of woke up the next morning and I was like, that's not normal. Like that's off. But I didn't really think anything of it because I was just kind of like, maybe this happens. You know, and I sort of got on YouTube and I looked up like binge eating fitness stuff and I was like, oh, this happens to bodybuilders all the time. Maybe I'm just getting super lean. And I was like, I want to be super lean. This is good. It means it's working, sort of thing, which is kind of fucked up. And then it progressively started to happen more and more and more and more and more over the coming months. And I just sort of started to hide the behaviors and all that sort of stuff to the point where like my parents would ask questions about like, why is the food going missing? All this sort of stuff. So I would take myself to the supermarket at like 9-10 p.m., wear a hoodie, put like the hood over my face and stuff and just buy all this like junk food and stuff and like smuggle it home and binge in my room and stuff. And like, you know, and then it basically culminated in the middle of that year. I went to the UK because it's where I'm originally from. Like all my family's over there except for my parents and my brother. So it's like, cool, go to the UK. All this stuff that I kind of knew wasn't good for me. I knew it was really bad, but I was like, cool, change of environment will help. And for a couple of weeks, it was great. Like we went to the UK, went around Europe, I turned 21, had my 21st birthday in Amsterdam, which was super fun. Yeah, no red light district, I promise. I promise. Just a few edibles. And then when I was in the UK, I was like, I want to stay a little bit longer. And the rest of my family flew back home and I was like, I'd stay here with my nan and stuff. And because again, I sort of fell back into these patterns of not really doing anything while I was there. I was just in a different country doing the same things over and over again. And I ended up having an episode so bad that it like scared me so much that I was like, I need to go home. I need to get help. Like I really need help. I remember like crying to my nan and being like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why does all this like happening to me and stuff? And obviously she got no idea, but my nan Aunt's great. She's like sitting there and she's like, just go home, get help, like do whatever it is you need to do, fix it up. So went back home, literally got on the first plane back. You know, as soon as I got home, my parents put me in with a psychiatrist, got in, chatted to them, and they were like, yeah, we think you have, like, we don't want to put labels on it and stuff because we don't want to like freak you out, but you 100% have an eating disorder, if not multiple sort of things, you know. And then obviously you get all the scary words that kind of get brought up. There's like anorexia, orthorexia, bulimia, binge eating disorder, all these kind of things that are kind of being brought up in the conversations with my parents and with me. But I was super grateful because I got in with a psychologist as well, who I saw pretty much every week for like 3-4 years up until the lockdowns in COVID.
Right.
And he just sat there and he was like, dude, labels scare you and you take labels and you run with them. So he's like, whatever you've got, he's like, let's just ignore that for a minute and let's just focus on what's kind of causing all these things. And we did a ton of work on like body image and all that sort of stuff. It was fantastic. Best thing that ever happened to me. Like, you know, and anybody who struggles with this stuff, therapy is the answer. Like at the end of the day, it's the best thing you can do. I know everybody always tries to look for excuses not to go, and I did for the longest time, but like it honestly changed my life, probably saved my life. And in the middle of that, I was kind of like, well, I want to stop this from happening to other people. I was still super passionate about training. I was loving training. That was like the best part of my day. And I was like, but if this is a reality that can happen to me, it could happen to anyone. So I sort of went, well, I'm not smart enough or emotionally stable enough to be a psychologist and to go and do that sort of stuff. So I was like, how can I help people before they get to that point? Right. And I was kind of like, I did not have the wherewithal to be like, I'm going to make fitness content or anything. But I was like, if I can at least just help 10 people a week stay away from this shit, then I'll be super happy. So I went and I got my PT certs and I started working at the gym that I'd been training at and stuff. And this is like early 2018. So like late 2017, early 2018, and just doing PT sessions. And I just dove into learning everything I could. And it was like, I was following the guys like James Smith. We obviously talked about the Carroll brothers before and the clean health guys and stuff. And I was learning like how to actually track calories and macros sustainably and not have it be something that becomes super rigid and like runs your life, and how to actually train to build muscle and to get bigger and stronger rather than always being a smaller version of yourself.
Just trying to be shredded.
Exactly. Trying to prioritize other things. And at that point, I'd like learned the importance of setting performance goals and like seeing what you could do in the gym. I'd started like looking into like strength sports and things like powerlifting and all that sort of stuff, where it was all an expression of what your body can actually do rather than breaking your body down. And that's not to say that bodybuilding isn't impressive, because it is if you do it in the right way. And I've taken a few clients to this stage and they've done really well. But it's like I obviously wasn't doing things in the right way because I wasn't turning to educated coaches or educated people. I was just turning to influencers at the end of the day who they might have meant really well, but like their messaging wasn't necessarily healthy or good. So swapping that for all these like educational coaches who've been doing this for 10, 15 years at a time sort of thing and learning all this actual education, I was like, cool, I want to start applying that more and more and more and more. And then while I was working as a PT, I was watching a James Smith video. I remember the exact video. He talks about the bar pad on the back of the neck. He calls it like a pussy pad.
Pussy pad.
Yeah. And me and my friend Jesse, who we were talking about before, like, because we used to work together on the gym floor, we were giggling away at this video, and we were like, we should do one.
I know the video too.
It's
in the black gym. Yeah.
Yes. The exact one. And we were like, we should make this video. We should just like do our own version of this. So we went and did it, and we filmed it on like my old iPhone, whatever it was, like fucking 480p if lucky sort of thing. Filmed it without a microphone. So like I'm facing away showing this pad. You can't hear a word I'm saying, but we were so proud of it, right? And that like just kind of lit something in me. I was like, well, we can make videos. We just need to learn how to make videos. So then I went and bought a microphone online and I started talking to the phone more, and like, my content sucked, but I was uploading to Instagram and I was kind of like, cool, I'm doing videos. I'm like watching guys like Mark and Lauren Simpson and James Smith and all these guys like uploading content. And I'm like, they're helping people everywhere. I'm like, I've got 2,000 followers that are all people that I've gone and followed who've followed back, or that are clients or whatever. But like, I'm like, but if even 10 people see it, that's 10 people who could like go to the gym and get it that I'm not working with on the gym floor. And that was kind of my motivation, was like get good quality information to people, even if they're not coming to see me as a PT, and it just kind of then from there, this was in like 2019 or so, 2019, early 2020. And then in the lockdowns, I had so much time on my hands. Like I was training people in person.
So you were face-to-face when lockdown hit?
Yeah. So I was face-to-face at a gym called Healthmates in Revesby. And I was working both as an employee of the gym, kind of writing programs for people, all day. And then outside of my shifts, I would do personal training as well. So there were weeks I was working like 60, 70 hours, days where I was there from like 4:30 a.m. till 8 p.m. and stuff like that, but I loved it. Like it was, you know, it was tiring, but it was, you know, nothing that 10 coffees a day couldn't fix. So when the lockdowns hit, it was like I was still doing sessions with my clients kind of socially distanced, but now I had so much more time because I wasn't doing the shifts or anything like that. So I started looking into content creation and could I make videos and recording workouts and all that sort of stuff, and just getting it sucked. The content sucked. It was terrible. I go back and look at it. I've like archived a lot of it because I'm like, but it was there, and it was the first kind of step into that, and then that kind of like then built the foundations for when I left that gym in 2021, and I went to a different gym for PT in the city, and I started getting exposed to a lot more people, and I like met my current roommate Musti, who used to video my content for me and stuff, and he's now a videographer for a lot of the people in the industry who I used to look up to, still do. You know, I started making more connections, and really that's where then it sort of came into being able to do the online thing and kind of moving from just being a face-to-face PT to being like, oh, this can be a reality. I can help people in other countries. And I remember my first ever online client was in America, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I've never been to I've been to mainland America when I was 13. Like, I've never been there as an adult. How the fuck do I have a client in mainland America? Then I got a client in Saudi Arabia. Never been to Saudi Arabia before. I got a client in the UK. I got a client in Ireland. I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. And then it's just kind of gone from there, really.
So I want to touch on where you're heading, and what you're doing at the moment. But we kind of talked about how it's pretty hard to find two men or just like fitness content from men kind of talking about the more secretive stuff that no one wants to talk about, like the eating disorder stuff, because I've had a similar kind of trajectory to you, actually, you know, down to the studying music thing, but all the way to the binge eating disorder thing and trying to secretly eat and things like that. But what were some things, because there may be people in a similar scenario that are trying to keep it quiet as well. Like, what are some things that helped you to actually climb out of that position? I know you can't just give like a checklist of like, do these 5 things and then you're sweet, because it's a gradual process. Like mine was definitely years of just kind of, I never saw anyone professionally, but I just kind of slowly climbed out of it by myself by chance. I wouldn't recommend that route. Probably your route is much more, much more intelligent and much more protective. But what were things that you implemented to help get you out of that?
So I think the biggest thing was identifying like where it was coming from. And the big thing for me was that it was coming from 2 places. It was coming from, number one, I just wasn't happy with myself in like so many different ways. It was like I had all these insecurities that were just kind of like bubbling under the surface. And as soon as you know what it's like, you get abs for the first time and everyone starts being like, oh, look at this guy, the 6-pack and stuff. And like, you know, because for me, like studying music and everything, a lot of my friends weren't jacked or ripped. Like they were just normal people, you know, at the end of the day. And like, so for them, it was almost kind of like having abs and stuff was like, whoa, like almost like circus act sort of thing. But it got me a lot of attention. And so my self-worth kind of ended up in my body fat percentage without me really even knowing it. And it was kind of like realizing that as people, we have so much more to give than just what the number on the calipers and the number on the scale say, you know what it is. And it's like, but when you're young, you don't really see that because you haven't had a chance to actually, you know, grow as a person and stuff. And, you know, I'm 29 now. I look at the person that I was when I was 20, 21 and all this sort of stuff came up. Like I've done a lot of growth as a human now, and I can see a lot more of the value that I have way outside of just how I look, even as a personal trainer and a coach. It's like, yes, okay, look fit, look healthy, inspire your clients and stuff, but like, I don't need to be dick skin lean for my clients to see me as someone to look up to in that manner. You know what I mean? Like it's more about healthy habits and sustainability. Yeah. So I think that was the first thing, was kind of learning where a lot of that came from. The second thing for me was like learning that there's a lot of shame that comes around that sort of stuff. And I assume you probably felt a lot of that the same way. You're hiding the eating away because you're like, people aren't going to understand. Like you feel ashamed of it because you're told that eating these foods is bad and binge eating is bad and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, the people around you don't want to judge you. They just want to help you at the end of the day. You know, if something is actually causing you pain and anguish and stress and you can communicate that to people, it's amazing how often people will sit there and be like, what can I do to help? You know, and that was the big thing for me, was that talking to my nan about it, who had no understanding of any of this sort of stuff. Yeah. She just knew that I was in pain, you know, like that's all it was. She was like, well, what can you do to get help? Like, what can you control in this situation? Which has always been a big thing for me since then, is like, look at the variables that you can control. And the first thing that you can control is making the decision to find someone that you can confide in and talk to about this. Even if, as you said, it's not someone in a professional setting because you're not ready to take that steps yet. Opening up to a friend, to a coworker, to a parent, to a cousin, to whoever the fuck it is. Like, there's someone in your life that wants to help you. You know, and so if that sort of stuff is going on, being able to open up to them and talk to them honestly about this is the first thing to kind of being able to recognize, like, this thing is real, but it doesn't define who you are as a person. And it being real is scary, but it also means that the ability to get out of it is real as well. And the things that can help you are real as well. And they're applicable and they can be done. They just take work.
Yeah.
You know, everything in life takes work. And this is just another one of those things, you know? And it's like, if you can dedicate yourself every day to putting in the work to track calories and run yourself into the ground with exercise and all that sort of stuff, you know, you can do a little bit of cognitive behavioral therapy. You can do getting outside in the sunshine and not locking yourself away. You can do social interaction and being around other people and seeing that there are other values to life than just the body fat percentage. You know what I mean? And it's like all those sorts of things really, really help. And then, 100%, the best thing I ever did was therapy. You know, and I'm not going to say I'm lucky because of the circumstances of it, but I'm fortunate in a way that my family is super open-minded to all that sort of stuff. So like, it wasn't even me who said I need to go to therapy. You know, it was my mum who was like, we need you to talk to someone. And it was my dad going, this is a really good idea for you to go and talk to this person, you know, and like my family understanding that mental health is a thing and that anxiety is a thing and that depression is a thing and that eating disorders could be a thing. And that while all these things are scary, you know, they are things. And as I said, they were hurting me. So my family just wanted to help and they knew they couldn't. So they knew they had to get somebody else to do that intervention first.
That's a massive thing because my parents, like that age and generation, like mental health was not a conversation at all. So that was like pretty lucky for you to have a family that's like, let's go see someone, not just like, oh, come on, Jack, just toughen up or just
snap out of it. Man.
Just get over it.
Yeah, this doesn't happen to guys. This doesn't happen to men. Men can't have anxiety. Like men got to be hard, tough, sort of thing. And this is the thing. Like my dad for a long time struggled, like understanding that stuff a little bit. But you know, overall, like I have to be so grateful for my parents for the way that they helped with that sort of stuff. And you know, my family, ever since I was, you know, in my kind of like early to mid teens, like mental health has been a really big thing in my family, not just from me and my brother and my parents and stuff, but also like cousins and adjacent family members and stuff. You know, it's been something that thankfully my family as a whole has had a lot of exposure to. And while there are certain people in my family who still don't understand it, they all try to be as open-minded as possible, even to the fact where I'm very fortunate. I still have 2 living grandparents who are in their 90s.
Wow.
And both of them, while they don't understand it, and they'll probably never understand it in their lifetime, they always, you know, make the point to ask, how are you doing? Are you okay? Like all these things, like they understand that these things can be issues, even if to them it goes over their head. Like my granddad doesn't know what anxiety is. You know, this guy's born in like the fucking 1930s, man. He lived through the war. He don't know. Like, but he sits there and he's like, yeah, like how you feeling? Like, do you feel okay flying over here to come and see me? Was it all right? Like, you know, it's
that's cool.
Try to be open-minded to it. So yeah, but I think even if it's not, like for young guys listening to this, like I don't know if you've seen the video on Instagram that's been going around. There's a young guy, I think he's from the UK, and he's trying to look like an anime character or something. Like he did this full day of eating. It was like 600 calories.
Actually, I saw your video. I've saved it a while ago, but I didn't know how to approach it. So I've been thinking about it for a month, and then I saw you post about it. I was like, oh, I'm just not going to do it anymore. He's like, I was like, how do I approach this? Because he's eating like a pomegranate, a couple of like 0-fat yogurts
and a steak
and a steak and like a monster drink. And that's his diet.
And it's terrifying because it's like when you're making, because he's making content about this stuff, and then it's even more terrifying because half the people commenting on it and stuff are like, yeah, you look great, you look this, you look that. And I'm like, this kid, if he keeps going, like that's it. Like, see you later. You know, he's 100%. Like late teens, early 20s, and he's not going to get past that.
Yeah, and another problem is he's getting so many views, so it's almost like backing up his behavior.
Reinforces it, and it's almost like then you get guys like me and you who'll sit there and try and do the older brother approach of like, hey man, like you need to get help, you need to stop this sort of thing. But like we're like the minority, so then all these kids who are commenting being like, keep doing it,
you're
sort
so
of thing.
lean.
And it's kind of terrifying. Yeah, but that's the unfortunate reality, is that like I think guys just don't talk about this stuff anywhere near as much. I think it's one of those things where, and I said in my video about that, like I don't want to discount the experiences of women, because obviously women go through a lot of this shit as well. And like women in body image expectations and media and stuff have just had the short end of the stick for decades, you know, and I think it changes so much for women as well. It's almost like they can't keep up. It's like skinny is Vogue, then it's Marilyn Monroe is Vogue, and then it's like bodybuilders are Vogue, and now it's going back to like the Ozempic look and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And it's terrifying how often it like changes for women and stuff. But I just think with men, it's just not talked about. It's like we sit there and we just kind of, it's like, hey, cope. You know, it's like, you train, you got body dysmorphia, everyone does, sort of thing. You know, it's like,
just keep it down, just squash
exactly,
it down.
bro. And it's like, fuck, like we need to have more conversations about it. So, that's the big thing for me. It's like just be openly willing to talk to people about it.
I think one thing that helped me from a practical point of view was the idea of flexible dieting was like so mind-boggling to me when I first started, because I was so when I first started as a personal trainer, I went down the same route. I used to be on simplyshredded.com, so that was my go-to place. That was the Bible. So I'd look at, like, me and my friends would look at Lazar Angelov, Ulysses, and Jeff Seed, and like be like, what's it? Tilapia. What's tilapia? You know what I mean? Like trying to find these perfect like meal plans. So I used to have like boiled eggs, and then just like not eat all day. So I'd be it was more kind of like shameful for me because I was a PT at the time. And I was like telling people, stick to your calories and macros, you know what I mean? Like eat healthy, you know, do this, do that, train. And then I'd have like 10 boiled eggs for breakfast.
Yeah.
And then I just wouldn't eat till like 8 p.m. So I'd literally like starve myself all day with the intention of like staying clean, low calories and all that. And then I would have an episode like you. And I would just be like eating out, and I'd kind of try to play it off like, oh, I'm having a cheat meal. It's so funny. You know what I mean? But
same.
I'd be like, go to Domino's. And I remember I had other PTs and we'd do it the same, like we'd do it together. But I think they weren't starving themselves all day.
Yeah.
You know, like I was like not eating all day to be healthy, so-called healthy or lean or whatever, and then I would just get like Domino's pizzas, chocolate blocks, and I was laughing because when you said cheese, I would eat blocks of cheese too, like things that aren't even like exciting. I'm like, dude, I don't even want to eat this. And that's why am I eating this block of cheese? Like it's
and that's crazy. How you know that it's like, that's where it's a problem. It's like these other PTs are going because they're like, oh, pizza, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna eat that shit. Like, whereas for us, it was like, it's almost that uncontrollable thing of once you start, you can't stop.
It's just like anything. I'd like eat random dumplings in the freezer. I was like, I don't want dumplings. They're just in the freezer.
Like to cook them first.
So, I'll just cook everything and anything, and I'll just random biscuits and things. I was like, this is not even nice. I'm not even hungry. I'm literally just eating. So I had kind of all this stuff going on. But when I kind of heard the concept of, oh, you can eat things, because I told myself I can't eat that stuff.
Yeah.
So then when I did, it was just like, I would just go crazy.
Yeah.
And then when I told myself or heard, I can't remember how I did it because it was so gradual over time. I struggled with it for like 3 or 4 years, like in the depths of it. And living alone doesn't help either because you can just do whatever the hell you want whenever you want. So you just justify it like, oh yeah. Like no one's there to go like, hey man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like I'll just be in my room stuffing myself and then go to sleep and wake up and just rinse and repeat. But when I kind of felt like, oh, I can have this stuff and a little bit of that, a little bit of this, that really helped. Like that flexible dieting aspect. Not the like, if it fits your macros, just eat Pop-Tarts type of thing, because that was really big. And I think if I dived into that, I'd be in the same place. But having like a little bit of ice cream, a little bit of that, like that really helped me because I was like, oh, this is actually, I can still make progress. I can still be strong. I can still, you know, look great, which is what I was like kind of doing it for. But also I can enjoy myself. And then it kind of, that pressure, once I was like, I can have that stuff, that like excitement of the pizza and all that stuff, it wasn't actually there as much because I was like, oh, well, I can just have a slice and I'm all good.
Yeah.
When before it was like, you have to have a whole large pizza to yourself and then we're going to go get some dessert.
Yeah.
And then, we're going to.
And then back to more pizza.
And bounce back and forth.
Yeah. And that's it, man. It's like it's the thing of showing restraint rather than restricting, right? And it's kind of like knowing that, and that was the big thing for me too. It was like I had to learn that these foods weren't something to be demonized. You know, at the end of the day, like the calories in those foods were the exact same as the calories in the other foods. It was just that maybe these foods had more of them, and that just meant that I couldn't eat as much of it if I wanted to maintain a certain body composition. But it was also then reframing what that body composition was. You know, and it's like, you know, what you said there is again, I struggled with that a little bit when I came into being a PT too, because it was like, yeah, you can eat these things, it's all right, like teaching clients flexible dieting and stuff. But then for me, I'm like demonizing pizza and sandwiches and bread and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, you know, and you almost feel like you're being performative because you're trying to help someone and you're doing a good thing, you're doing the right thing, but it almost feels like it's coming from the wrong place in a way, because like at least it did for me at the start, was like I almost felt like I was compensating for fucking myself up by trying to help other people.
Yeah, like, no, I'm helping other people.
Exactly. So it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's only me. It doesn't matter if it happens to me, sort of thing. And it was that, again, reminding myself, actually, no, like, you matter too. Like, and for me, a big part of that was I actually got a coach. I had Mark Carroll, who's now a good friend of mine. I worked with him for like 4.5 years. And I did this when I was I was coming out of having all of these behaviors. I didn't want to put that on a coach, because that is, you know, not something that you put on a fitness coach.
Yeah, it's something that they can't really help you with.
Exactly. It's out of their remit. And it terrifies me sometimes seeing some of these coaches, some of the things they're trying to help people with. I'm like, do not do that.
That's not the hat that you wear.
Exactly. Yeah. But with Mark, it was like having someone there just to remind me, like, dude, you skip the gym, it's okay. Just go tomorrow, you know, or reminding me like, hey, well, I've given you these calories, like, and you've eaten ice cream. That's fine. It fits those calories. Like, what are you freaking out about? It's all right, dude. Don't worry about it. You can eat this. It's okay. Like, I remember freaking out once because I ate a cookie and I was like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I went over and he sent me a picture of him with a fucking like pineapple donut and he's like eating it and he's like, what are you freaking out about, bro? Like, as he's eating it. And I was like, but that helped so much because I'm like looking at this guy who's like super successful coach, super jacked, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And like, and he's just eating a donut like a normal person. And I'm like, oh, I can still eat that and be a PT and be a good trainer and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, there was a lot of like rewriting all that sort of stuff, like kind of reprogramming my brain. And you're right, like flexible dieting really, really helped with that.
Yeah.
But again, as you said, it's not the eat shit all the time and like try and fit it in sort of thing that a lot of people do, where they just kind of like eat snacks and cake and stuff and then lots of protein powder. It was like, how can I actually have my body feeling good by generally eating food that makes me feel good, and then also knowing that I can have foods that I like on top of that too? Because I hear a lot of people talk about like a relationship with food and like a relationship with calories and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, in all honesty, all of this stuff is just underpinned by relationship with yourself. At the end of the day, it's like food can't take anything from you. A relationship is symbiotic, right? You know, it's like, it's a two-way street. And if it's not a two-way street, you cut it off. You know, like if you're dating someone and they stop giving and they just take, you're going to get rid of them, right? Sort of thing. But with food, there is none of that, because what do you give to food? Nothing. You eat it. It gives you energy. It gives you fuel. It makes you happy. It makes you full. It does all this sort of stuff. So it's like taking away the power that food has and focusing more on the relationship with yourself and why you give power to this food and why you allow that food to control your life and why you allow all these decisions to kind of power you. It's like, well, actually, if you take all that sort of stuff away from the food and you just put it back down to you have the power to make the decisions, and that's kind of where it ends, then that makes it so much easier to look at it and go, oh, actually, I don't really need to eat that. Like, I don't really.
Well, it makes it easy to look at, but it's also harder to implement because you have to do the tough
there's
work
more
of like looking in the mirror and being like,
yeah.
it's my fault.
But that was where like therapy was so good.
Yeah.
Because again, it wasn't even like, it was reframing that like, it's my fault to being like, actually, I've got the power. I've got the autonomy in this situation, you know? And that was pretty powerful thing for me, was to look at it and be like, I want to eat a donut. Okay, why do I want to eat a donut? Because it really tastes good. Okay, cool. Well, that's giving you something. You know, it's giving you happiness. It's giving you fuel. It's making you feel good. But like, what happens if you eat 4 donuts? I'm not going to feel so good. I'm going to feel a little bit sick, and I'm going to feel a little bit guilty, and I'm going to feel a little bit upset with myself. Okay, so don't eat 4 donuts. Eat 1 donut. If 1 donut's the cutoff and you feel good eating 1 donut, eat the 1 donut. Don't eat the other 4. You know, go and offer them out to other people. Because what happens then? You offer someone a donut, their eyes light up, they eat the donut, they feel good too, you feel good because you gave someone a donut. It's like, you know, it was kind of reframing it into different decisions that could then kind of mean like you took all the power away from the food and it was just in the decision that you made at the time, sort of thing. And then all of that sort of stuff became more programmed, and, you know, it got to the point where, yeah, I could have bags of treats and stuff in the house and not feel like I had to go and eat the entire thing all the time, sort of thing. It was like, cool, I can have 1 row of chocolate, or if I have 2, I'm still feeling good and it's all right. Like,
yeah,
that's fine, sort of thing. But it was just kind of trying to take responsibility for my actions 100%, but also just give myself the power back, rather than the food having that being like this big scary thing. Like I walk into the bakery aisle at Woolies to get some bread and I'm like, oh, there's donuts, there's cookies. I'm terrified because if I buy those, I'm going to binge. It was like, do I want cookies? no, I don't even like those cookies and they're $6. That's really expensive. Woolworths, what the fuck? $6 for cookies? Fuck off, man. You know what I mean? So it was like, it kind of helped me sort of see food again just as this thing that you consume for sustenance at the end of the day.
It's energy.
Yeah, so that was kind of where I went with it. And it doesn't work for everyone at the end of the day, but like for me, I just found being able to kind of cut off food's control over me super powerful, being able to take that kind of power back and put it back on myself to make the decisions and make myself autonomous and give myself power at the end of the day. Like, because funnily enough, power is a powerful word. You know what I mean? Like when you feel like you've got that power, you feel unstoppable. And when you feel like it's been taken away from you, that's where all this sort of stuff starts to slide, because you then feel helpless, you feel lost, you feel kind of trapped in that. And it can be very hard to get it back.
So fast forward to now, your online coaching.
Yes.
To bring back to we've kind of established you in the fitness industry. I want to kind of touch on a few things that I know we haven't really talked about what you're doing now, but if you don't know, you're online coaching.
I'm online coaching. I'm making social media content.
Yeah, great.
I'm playing
content
with my cat quite a lot. That's not a euphemism.
You have a cat. So I wanted to kind of dive in. Like, as a personal trainer, I find training content and ideas interesting, and just thoughts from other PTs, and from a real legit face-to-face personal trainer too. I know there's a lot of online that kind of skip that phase now, which I'm not a huge fan of, as you're probably not a fan of as well. But I want to dive into a few training things, because you talk a lot about training in your content as well. Like, what are some things you changed your mind on from when you first started initially, or like some initial things where you're like, oh, we have to do this, or like, you know, insert example here. I don't want to throw them on you yet, but like, what are some things that you change your mind on, and what do you do now?
I think the biggest one is training volume. And I actually made a video about that yesterday, because I changed my mind massively on how much volume is needed for the average person, like probably the end of last year. So when I came into training, you know, I was doing all the programs and stuff, it was like, I started with like Steve Cook and fitness culture and all that sort of stuff. So like 4 to 6 sets of everything, wave loading, all this sort of shit, which was super fun. But it was like
so long,
2-hour workouts, bro.
6 sets. Sorry to jump in, but wave loading, I actually really loved it.
Me too.
Like 5-3-2, 5-3-2, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But man, took ages.
Dude, and I was so beat
6
up.
sets.
My lower back, bro. Like my poor lower back, dude. I could see like both the light and the trauma in your eyes when I mentioned wave loading, because that's what everybody sees. But dude, it was like that, and it was the kind of like periodization of programming and everything, where everything had to be super like periodized into the next phase, and you got accumulation phases, intensification phases, and almost this very like performance sport, like, I guess, like mentality towards programming. And I was kind of giving that to all my clients. I remember coming in at 5 a.m. My poor fucking like PT clients. Damien Barnes, I'm so sorry. I remember coming in at 5:30 a.m. and making him do like a skewed pyramid thing on bench press and stuff, and being like, no, you have to strictly adhere to the 4-second eccentric, because previously we were doing 3 and we got to, you know, I remember like, Damien, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. But yeah, like the end of last year, like I realized I wasn't enjoying training anywhere near as much as I was before. And part of that came from being so much more focused on my business and more clients and being busier, which was super exciting, but super anxiety inducing at the same time. I didn't want to be spending 3 hours in the gym every afternoon. And so I was like, okay, well, everyone's talking about this whole low volume approach, which obviously things go cyclically in the fitness industry. Like this has been around since like the 80s, like Mensa and shit, you know, like it's just kind of changed a little bit as you go. And everybody was saying like 2 sets, just 2 really hard sets, like 6 to 10 reps, push yourself as close to failure as you can. I train in a gym that's super well stocked with equipment. So, you know, for me, I can do a lot of machine weights, which make it easier to push to failure. And I was like, cool, I'm going to try this. So I was like, wrote myself up a new upper lower split, because that was like the optimal split that everyone's obsessed with now. And I'm like, guys, this has been around for fucking decades. This is nothing revolutionary. Come on, it's upper lower. Wrote myself up a new split, basically like 6-7 exercises, 2 super hard sets of everything. And it didn't exactly like reinvigorate my passion for training immediately, but straight away I was like, oh my God, I'm seeing better results because I'm pushing harder. I'm more focused. My sessions are shorter. I don't feel like I'm having to load myself up with carbs and caffeine as much before I train. So I'm not feeling as sluggish when I get halfway through. I'm not coming out of a leg day and being absolutely fucked by the time I get home to do more check-ins and being like, hey man, great week for my afternoon check-ins. So I was like, oh, this really works well. And then I sort of started applying applying it more and more and more to clients too, like 2-3 sets max for everything, and just really educating them more on intensity and pushing harder. Like I'd done a lot of this beforehand, but I'd been very reticent to take a lot of my online clients into like 4 to 6 reps or whatever, because I was like, I wouldn't get injured with a lot of the lifts. Like I've always liked programming barbell lifts too, so bigger exercises and stuff. So I was a little bit hesitant to do that, but I was like, fuck, like let's do more of it, because then clients started seeing better results, like started learning a little bit more about how low volume can be super beneficial in like dieting phases and stuff as well. So for me, I think the training volume thing has been a really big one that I've kind of changed my mind on, simply because it's not like I see high volume as being bad or anything like that, because I think for beginners they need super high volume because
they need the practice.
Yeah, they suck at training at the end of the day, like, you know, and they need to get better. Yeah, they're uncoordinated, they don't know how to train to failure. Yeah, they do 10 reps on a leg extension, and then you go, okay, gun to your head, we're gonna keep going, and they do 40, and you're like, oh, it was hard, was it? That was hard. Come on, push a little bit harder. You know, so I definitely think high volume still has a place, but I think low volume, if you're trying to maximize muscle gain, super exciting, super important, super fun. And I think too, with that kind of like really reframed how I structure programming as well. Because I used to be very much a big proponent of have your compound lift focus on the day, and then you move into your isolation accessories and they kind of build off that and all that sort of stuff. Because again, it was this almost like I learned a lot from Mark. It was a lot of that Poliquin style programming, which I still find really fun. Like I really enjoy programming it. I really enjoy training it, but like I just don't have the time now really for my own training. But like, you know, I sort of realized like there's actually no right or wrong way to do a lot of this stuff. It just has to make sense in the concept of what it is you're doing. So started playing around with different programming methods and kind of like, you know, to the point of being like, oh, how does movement actually like play into this? Like I did the prescripts courses at the start of last year and stuff, learning more about like muscle mechanics and all that sort of thing, and kind of like being like, well, just because you want to get good at a pull-up doesn't mean you have to start the session with a pull-up. You know, you can do rows and scapular movement and stuff first, and then you can kind of get blood in your back, and then your pull-ups actually feel better, sort of thing, and not just having this super like straightforward way of like focused lift goes first and all that sort of stuff. So I think the last 2 years it's just been like a lot of challenging what I previously thought I knew, because I'd learned such a specific way of programming and sort of not gone outside of that really, and not looked at different ways of doing things. And now it's like, you know, being able to hide mobility work in clients' programs a lot more effectively, and being able to kind of have almost this whole like holistic style to programming where people can get jacked, they can get strong, they can move really well, they can do it in a shorter time. Like it's kind of really helped with my clients and stuff as well. So I think that's the biggest thing, like training wise, that I've changed my mind on. I think a lot of, you probably find this yourself, like a lot of it isn't necessarily changing your mind so much. It's taking things and adding them into what you already do, and kind of being like, cool, I've got this way that I do stuff that works really well, but what if I added a bit of that in? What if I just changed that? What if I just did this? It's like people almost kind of like want this big reframe all the time, whereas like I just find it's kind of like you've got your shit that works, and then you added more shit that works, and now you got double the shit that works. Yeah, exactly, right? Like,
yeah, I found a similar thing, because I'd say I've kind of moved to low volume, not by choice, but by circumstance. Yeah. So having 2 younger children has been, and I'm not blaming like, oh, it's my kids' fault.
Damn kids, bro.
Like, that's why I'm not jacked.
I just want the gains, man. Fuck.
It's my kids' fault, I tell you. Don't do it. So I guess I just have less time, and probably like on the back of that, less sleep, less kind of bandwidth, and same thing with you in business. You know, I'm kind of very that focused, and then I would, like when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, and I wouldn't want my clients to look at it like this, but I do. If it comes down to like business or training, I'll just do my business work, and I'll be like, I'll train at some other time. Yeah. Because I don't really see it as like I have to do it, or I'm gonna, I don't know, somehow just like gain all this weight or become unhealthy or become unfit.
You have the routines and the habits and stuff in place, right?
Yeah,
so it's like
and
you
I
can
enjoy
fall
it.
back on that, and then you know you'll make time for the training at some point. Whereas it might be that a client of yours, if you encourage them to think about training later, you just know they're not going to do it.
It'll be like one session a fortnight type of thing for them.
Exactly.
And so I've kind of fallen, like the last probably 2 or 3 months has probably been the worst stint of my training. The last 2 weeks have been okay, but I probably trained like once or twice a week, and I really didn't like, I was like, I think it's just because my workouts were too massive, you know, and I'd look at it and go, nah. And I was cutting off sets anyway. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing these programs, but in my head I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm doing 2 sets or 1 set sometimes. Yeah. So now I've just like written a low volume program like yourself. and I'm like actually excited to train, and I feel stronger, probably because I'm less fatigued, and maybe I'm more excited to actually train. So I'm like, oh, I've only got 2 sets of low bar back squat. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Like I'll just couple of warm-up sets, or maybe a bit more, because now I can actually give more to these sets. And I've actually found strength better, maybe not body composition wise, because I'm probably like moving a bit less in terms of like training and all that kind of stuff, but I don't really care about that too much at the moment. But I think just having like, a different kind of approach to it makes it so much more exciting. Like I'm just like, I want to train.
It's refreshed enthusiasm, right?
Yeah. I was skipping, like I told you, like, so my work desk is right here. I would just look at my training program, and then I'd just like flip my phone down and just start working, because I was I was just like,
I'm not set check-in.
Well, sometimes I just wouldn't do a set, and I would just like be like, I'm just not training today.
And
that's why I was training once or twice a week, because I was just like, I'm just going to train. So I'm with you on the low volume approach, and like I haven't seen any negative. If anything, it's probably positive, because the output of the sets is like much better. I can feel like I can really push.
100%.
So in terms of things that you may have changed, what about nutrition? We've kind of touched on the eating disorder type of thing, but
the excessive stuff.
The kind of deep stuff. But what about like, I don't know, calorie or macros or food selection or anything? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
I think I've just done a lot bigger of a focus on gut health the last couple of years, especially the last sort of 18 months. I think I credit a friend of mine, Dave Marsh, for this, because I was never really hugely into like the thinking about the relationship between like the gut and the brain and all that sort of stuff, and kind of actually how your gut health influences how you feel on a day-to-day basis. For me, it was basically like, what's the texture of my shit like? Is it acceptable? Cool. Sorry to be vulgar, but like,
that's all right.
It's like, but I'm someone who struggles really bad with anxiety and stuff. And I was kind of like, I sort of started to do a deep dive last year. I was like, actually, I think I've like practically ruined my gut health. Lots of sweeteners and stuff, which again, none of these things are bad. I need to stress that. Like, none of these things are bad. It was just that I was overdoing the consumption of them, and my gut health was a bit off. So lots of sweeteners, relying on protein bars and protein shakes all the time. I wasn't eating anywhere near enough whole foods. Probably fiber intake was not anywhere near as good as it could be. I'd eat like a bowl of oats in the morning, and that was good enough for me, sort of thing. I was also doing a lot of like powder supplements and stuff, because I could like blend them into like a shake or whatever. So again, it was then so you can taste it, and then also like that's just whey protein with water and stuff. So again, it was like a lot of my, I felt like I was very bloated, very distended. I felt like I wasn't digesting food well. I felt very puffy. Everybody uses the word inflamed all the time, but like I felt inflamed. Like my face was like fucking like round and stuff.
Yeah, you can see that. Like it kind of looks like you're tired.
Yes, You got bags under your eyes.
Yeah, like I just woke up, I had a good sleep.
Shit, like, and again, save like coffee wise and stuff. Like I was drinking probably, I don't think I was quite as bad as like peak PT days, but I was probably doing like 10 to 12 shots of coffee a day, like, and then also like energy drinks and stuff like that and
on
everything.
top.
So so it was like my gut health was just not good at all. I wasn't regular going to the bathroom or anything. And when I was, it was like texture was all off. Like, so I started really focusing more on my gut health and kind of consuming more whole foods, the importance of meal timings, not in the sense that everybody looks at, like kind of when's the best time to eat for fat loss and stuff, but like just consistent meal times, being like routinizing when I eat. So waking up in the morning and finding that for me, if I ate super early, I just feel really sluggish. So I would have water, and I would have my supplements, like my vitamins, fish oils, all that sort of stuff. I'd have a coffee about an hour after I woke up, because then I'd feel awake enough for it to kind of feel good. And then I'd be all right without food for like 2 or 3 hours. So I was like, oh, cool. Okay, well, that works well.
Nice.
Then I'd like have my first meal, and I'd focus on like, okay, I'm going to have proper sourdough bread that's a little bit more expensive rather than getting just the regular sliced bread, because this digests better. And I'm going to have eggs, and I'm going to have salmon, I'm going to have avocado, or I'm going to have oats and fruit, and I'm going to have like vegan protein powder instead of whey protein powder. And all of a sudden I found like first meal, go to the bathroom more regularly, like didn't feel bloated in the mornings, didn't feel like I was kind of lethargic and stuff. I was like, okay, cool. Well, that's makes sense. Whole foods, all that sort of stuff. And then just throughout the day being like, okay, I'm going to make little tweaks here. So I'd still have a protein shake post workout, but I'd let myself come back into a rest and digest state before having it. I wouldn't kind of like slam it down and then try and film content. I would chill out a little bit, ideate my content, film my content, take my time, and then I'd start sipping on the shake and taking my time with it. I'd start sitting down more for meals rather than eating on the go all the time. I'd like get my sleep in order a little bit more. Every night, like for the last probably 12 months, I've had what I call like unless I've been traveling or whatever, or like out for dinner with friends, I have my FOSB, which is my fuck off salad bowl, which is just a massive bowl of greens, like beetroot, pineapple, avocado, like something fermented like sauerkraut or something.
Yeah, nice.
And then some form of lean meat in there, with then some form of carb source, like could be rice, could be pasta, could be whatever it is on the side. Like I like a big evening meal, always have done. And then I just find like that switch to more whole foods and less kind of just, again, I think I was just getting into that complacency of like, well, I've got my calories and macros. I just hit them however I hit them sort of thing.
Yeah.
So now being a bit more intentional with that stuff. And it's meant too that when I go out and I eat, like some people go the other way where they then go out and eat off their usual plan and they kind of find that sets their gut off. I've actually been a lot better at digesting. If I got like, I love ramen. Ramen's one of my favorite foods. So
I'm kind of thinking of getting into it. There's a spot down the road. There's like orange doors. Anyway, it's like got a big line. Have you been there before?
No, I haven't been to that one. But
anyway,
I have to look
apparently
it up
it's really busy. Yeah,
I have to add it to the list.
Okay, right. Yeah, I've seen a few things. It looks pretty good. I haven't dived into the ramen world.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. If you like Asian food, like it is fucking great. When I was in Japan earlier this year, me and Musti, we ate so much ramen. Oh my god. But like, I find like I don't wake up, like I'll be a bit bloated because it's very high in sodium and stuff. But like, I don't feel I wake up the next day and my stomach's off or anything. Like I feel pretty good. I can still just kind of keep going kind of thing. Cause I've got this kind of routine set up where I'm a lot more focused on my food quality and I've tried to buy better quality meats and stuff like that. I'm not doing the whole raw milk fucking, endangering my life thing. Yeah,
not yet. You're on the path.
Just call me Dr. Jack Saladino. But like the gut health focus has been huge. And I found anecdotally body composition wise, without really trying, I've been so much leaner the last year. And that's not really been a focus for me. Like I don't, like for me, I'm like, if I'm at a body composition where I feel good, I'm happy. I don't need to be dick skin lean and stuff. But like, I've been eating more food while feeling like I'm leaner, and it's probably just lack of inflammation and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like maybe you're less bloated, less inflamed.
100% I am. 100%. Like I'm less, and this all came because last year, like this is the big switch on this came last year in October. I went up for one of my clients competed in the, what was the last WBFF show before it became
before
FMG.
They changed.
Yeah, and she competed in the Gold Coast. I came back, and the day I got back to Sydney, I slept for like 32 hours straight because I basically passed out with this food baby. I don't even know what caused it, but I had the worst gut distension and just like horrific pain. Like there was no gas, no going to the toilet, none of that sort of stuff. It was just this horrific distension. Still don't know what caused it other than probably just stress. And straight away I was like, okay, I need to look into this more. I was like, that's been like building a little bit. I was like, I've been getting some cramps and stuff over the last couple of months, but that just like for me was like, okay, I'm not paying attention enough to this. I need to focus more on that and stress management and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think that's been the biggest thing is like trying not to be excessive with it or anything, but it's like I've just been eating more whole foods, which funnily enough has made a positive change. Yeah.
I'm actually on a similar trajectory, not necessarily by choice. So I get migraines that are pretty intense. I have ever since I was a kid. Like it used to be a bit more intense. Like I lose my vision for like a little bit. Like I start to see stars and then like I'll be looking at you, but I can only really like see your eye. Like one eye and then it's like just stars everywhere. I get that for a bit and then my sight comes back and then the headache comes and then I usually spew and then I'm good. Yeah. But then my head feels really sore. Like the only way to explain it is like my brain is in like my skull or cranium or whatever it is. And then it's like swishing around and hitting like if I turn my head quick. And I've been trying to like, I keep a migraine diary and I'm like trying to think like I'm looking at barometric pressure of the days that I get it. Like, because sometimes weather, like when weather's really kind of like overcast and it feels like it's hot, like that throws me off too.
Okay.
But anyway, some artificial sweeteners are kind of linked towards migraines.
I have seen some of this research.
So I was looking at and I was like, maybe I'm just going to, because I love white monsters. I love any monsters really. And I used to like the sugar-free energy drinks and Pepsi Maxes and things like that. So I've cut that out for probably a year and a bit.
Yep.
And my migraine frequency has dropped massively. Yeah, so I've dropped the desire to have any of that. I just have like water and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And my wife went on a really big gut journey a couple of years ago. And she actually worked with Jake.
Oh, yeah.
And went through this whole kind of process of antimicrobials and worked through all these kind of processes and I just picked up things as I go. And now I have the like $20 a loaf sourdough. That's dude. It's just like 3 ingredients. This one from Harris Farms. I don't know how much it is, but my wife gets it for me. But I eat that, feel better. I'm not having the artificial sweeteners. I'm taking supplements and stuff like that. More so for migraine prevention. There's a couple of supplements that are really good for it. And I'm having fermented foods and all of that kind of stuff as well. And I feel so much better. Yeah. And it was something that I never realized too, because once again, I was like, macros. It's just about macros. Macros and calories. Yeah. You know, I'll have whatever I want when I want. You know, I'd have white monsters at any time of the day as well. And coffees are unlimited. They're still kind of unlimited at the moment. But the sugar-free drinks and all that kind of stuff. And I feel noticeably different. I wouldn't say I've experienced body composition differences. I don't think I ever had that like crazy inflamed feeling. Yeah. But I definitely feel a difference. And I feel like this is becoming a bit more of a popular conversation of like, okay, calories and macros, we've got that sorted. What next? And I feel like this is where you can keep kind of making progress to improve your health.
For sure. And I think that's the thing, man, right? It's like, I think the message kind of just got popularized because of body composition. And in body composition terms, it is calories. You know, at the end of the day, it's like eat less calories than you burn. Make sure you get enough protein. You will get lean and you will retain muscle. Cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, but it is that thing of like obviously like food companies don't help now that they're throwing protein into everything and all that sort of stuff as well. Like, and it's just kind of protein. It's like,
so everyone's just like, guys, I just need to hit protein. That's all that matters.
It's like, guys, fiber is pretty fucking important too. If you can do anything, hit your fucking fiber intake. Yeah. You know, and that was a big wake up call for me a couple of years ago with fiber, was kind of learning more about that. I was like, cool. But now like, making sure that I'm getting, and it's funny because so much of like the basic shit that you learn, even just as a kid with the food pyramid, it's like, yeah, you probably should do that. You probably should have multiple serves of fruits and veggies a day. You probably should try and avoid having too much like processed food, you know? And it's like, it's not saying, again, I think the problem is, again, it's like two extremes, right? It's this stuff is really fucking bad for you, or it's eat as much of this stuff as you want, it's okay. When the truth is, it's in the middle. It's always the poison is in the dosage. And it's always just kind of like, everybody's going to be a little bit different. For me, I eat decent amount of red meat. I don't feel rough. I don't have any issues, right? My roommate, he eats a lot of red meat. He starts getting gut health issues. He can't digest it quite as easily. You know? And it's like, why? We both eat the same steaks. Why? It's just differences in different humans and what you're kind of used to and all that sort of stuff. It's like things like seafood and all that sort of stuff. You know, some people get in danger of mercury poisoning a lot quicker than other people and all that sort of stuff. It's like everyone's different. It's kind of finding what works for you to feel good. But I also think people are kind of losing the ability to tap into themselves, check in with themselves and see what actually feels good. It's like you're just getting a new standard. And that was kind of me last year, I was like, well, this is just how I feel, which is tired, groggy, bloated, all that sort of stuff. I was like, must just be normal. Just be normal. But it wasn't normal, you know, and it's now I'm still a super stressed guy. But like at the same time, my gut health's so much better because my dietary choices have been better and that routine around food has been better and you know, sleep has been better as well, which has helped. But yeah, man, so many of these things, even coffee, like I did a caffeine detox. Like, fuck, I hate the word detox, but like, I guess that's what it is. But like, I did that about 6 months ago. I realized I was drinking way too much coffee. My sleep sucked. So what I did was I went straight down to 1 coffee a day. Okay. For a month.
From like 5.
From a lot. So that's probably, So I was having like I was probably having like 600 to 700 milligrams of caffeine a day. Right. Like a white monster, for anyone listening, has 160 milligrams. And then like generally, I think a cold brew coffee is usually about 160 or something like that as well. Right. So when you think about it, it would probably have been like...
That's probably where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, there you go. And that's 4 to 5 like strong caffeinated drinks, right? Yeah. I went from that down to having 1 coffee and I made sure that it was literally just like a flat white. I was like, I'm just going to have a flat white for the taste of coffee more than anything. Yeah. And then I was kind of like placebo affecting myself throughout the rest of the day by having decaf, which I think is like 5 milligrams. It's like completely inconsequential.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, dude, you just get the taste and then your brain's like, because even the tea I was having, I have a lot of black tea with caffeine in it and stuff as well. Or like I was drinking Coke Zero, which has caffeine in it as well.
But so you don't count that when you're on the coffees and...
Exactly. You just don't think about it sort of thing. So I went right down to 1 like coffee a day for like a month. And then I actually had I only went like a week where I did no caffeine, so no coffee, no Pepsi Max, no Coke Zero, no decaf coffee, none of that sort of stuff. It was just water, and then if I was having like a 0-calorie drink, it was like Sprite or Solo or something like that, like one of those a day. And then I just kind of went back to, okay, cool, 1 coffee and see how I feel. And straight away, like that 1 coffee would hit me harder. It felt a lot better. And now it's kind of like, I'm generally pretty good. Like I can get away with kind of doing one cold brew and one regular coffee a day most days. And that's generally spread apart. I try and leave them about sort of 4 or 5 hours apart as well. So I'll have a coffee quite early, like 6, 7 a.m. And then I'll have another one kind of 11 a.m. before I go and train and film. And my kind of thought process is at least then I'm using the caffeine for something productive as well, right? But even that's just made such a difference to my guts. Like, so all those sorts of things can be super helpful. But I think that's the biggest one that I've really gone with is just gut health.
So to dive back into training, I like the question of what exercises would you do if you only had 10?
Burpees.
10 of them.
Yeah. Just burpees.
Different variations of burpees. So in terms of your goals, like let's just say getting a bit more jacked, getting a bit more strong. Not trying to say those are your goals, but what 10 exercises would you do? I like this question just from it kind of purifies your exercise selection. And why. Okay.
So if I'm thinking about it, like, probably jacked and strong are like kind of my main goals, really. Like, fuck being functional, right? Who needs to tie their shoelaces?
Why do you need to be functional when you're jacked and strong?
Jacked and strong is a function. That's it, bro. That's the thing. Okay, so
that should be a t-shirt.
I think Hormozy said it
first,
really?
I think.
So I can't even hit. Yeah, that guy's got more money than me. Dude, just a little bit. All right. So I would probably look at it as like, what can I get the most bang for my buck out of across those 10 exercises? So like for me, I'd probably start with the muscle group that I always want to try and bring up is my back. Like I find my back isn't just like, I think I just train back shit.
It's hard. It's hard to really feel things, I think, with the back.
Yeah, well, that got deep for a second. You're right, bro. It's hard to feel things sometimes.
It's a weakness of mine too. Don't bring it up.
Yeah. Can we move on from this?
What about chest?
I stopped seeing my therapist for a reason, man. So like back for me, I would go with, I'd want something for more of the upper back and the traps. So I'd want like a chest supported kind of pronated grip row. Like I'd want some kind of like T-bar prone row. How specific do I have to get here? Like do I have to go
as specific as
machine?
you want?
Like,
well, like I can follow you, like I really enjoy it, but it's up to you.
So there's a machine that we have at Prime, which is like a Prime, I think it's called the Extreme Row. It's like super manly, super like testosterone, like Extreme Row. And it's a chest supported row, super adjustable. You can load different portions of the resistance profile. So where it's hardest, like you can make it harder in the stretch, harder in the squeeze and stuff. I love that machine. I've been running it for the whole year. So that flared pronated grip, sort of 45-degree angle for the chest, like lots of big scapular retraction, lots of traps, lots of upper back. I think I'd go with that, and I'd pair that with a lat pull down or a pull up. If I can't interchange them, if I got to pick one, probably be a pull up because there's just nothing better than doing heavy pull ups. You know what I mean? So do that. That would cover upper back and lats. So
sorry, with the chin up, would you add weight? Would you do body weight?
I would add
assisted
weight
even
generally. Like, come on, man, I'm not that heavy. I'd 100% add weight to the pull-ups. Like for me, like there's nothing.
Like, do you like them low reps?
3 to 6 reps.
Me
like
too.
To me, that's like otherwise it's like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Too many reps.
I can't count past 10, bro. Can't even use my fingers while I'm doing that because it has to fall off. Dude, I love at the moment like a mid grip kind of pronated pull up, kind of keeping the upper back fairly fixed and then driving the elbows to the hips using straps so I can just literally focus on pulling. Kind of that 3 to 6 rep range. I love it. I find it so much fun. Ironically, I haven't been doing them in my training lately. I've been doing lat pull downs just because I've like wanted to run that a little bit more. But pull ups for me, like they're probably the exercise that I enjoy the most. So for me, the list would be like, what do I really like doing? Combined with what's kind of my goal. So like the next exercise is a dip. And I don't think the dip is the best exercise for hypertrophy necessarily because it's kind of like good amount of triceps, good amount of chest, but like a lot of people find that it really just is like tricep city or their shoulders feel a bit funky or whatever. So, but I love doing them. I got up to, so I weigh about 90 kilos and I got up to doing 50 kilo dips for like sets of 6 to 8 earlier this year. It was so much fun. Yeah, dude, I loved it so much.
Did you get the big 50 kilo dumbbell or did you get
I had the plates, bro. I almost fucking took my testicles out like so many times because we got the iron 25s as well. I was just kind of like, oh my God, this is going to be a pincher.
It's risky business.
Dude, so bad, but so rewarding. So I'd go with a dip because then that's going to get my triceps and my chest. I'm probably then going to go for an incline Smith machine press, maybe like a 45-degree incline so I can get shoulders and get chest. I love a Smith machine press. I think it's so much fun. Probably have some legs in there, I suppose. I think legs wise, I might go a hack squat. I love a pendulum squat. We have pendulum squat at Prime. It's a great machine, but my knees just can't take it for the long term. So I think I'd go a hack squat.
I've never used a pendulum.
It's brutal, bro.
I've heard stories. I've heard the rumors.
It's so brutal.
I want to get
my
in there,
meniscus on a pendulum, bro. Last year, I came up and I just heard this, and I was like, was that me? Or was that the machine? I got out and I couldn't straighten my leg, and I was like, fuck, that's me.
That was me,
I caught it on camera as well. So I think I'd go a hack squat. So I get good amount of quads, good amount of glutes out of that. Adductors too. A seated leg curl, because great for the hamstrings.
Yeah.
I'd probably have an RDL in there, because I like a hip hinge, like bending over in the gym for everyone to see. So I think then you've got like your squat pattern, you've got your hinge pattern, and then like a leg curl to really take care of the hammies. I think that's probably, and then maybe, to be honest, I'd have a leg extension. No, actually, you know what? I'm going to completely fuck off my hack squat pick. I'm going to have a Bulgarian split squat instead. That's what I'm going to have. Okay. I know it's horrible, but I feel like with a Bulgarian, you can change the setup enough. Like, so you can have a deficit, you can load with 1 or 2 dumbbells, you can kind of...
You got more variation.
To change different things, more glute or quad stimulus.
Yeah.
Then that way I can do the seated leg curl for the hammies, I can do the RDL for the hinge pattern. The Bulgarian's going to have crossover to like healthy hips and knees and stuff as well.
I think you're at 7 now.
I think I'm at 7. I got 3 lower and I got the 4 upper. I'm probably going to have a preacher curl for the biceps.
Oh, yeah?
Because biceps, mine are small, so I need to grow them. I've probably got enough triceps from the dips, I think. So I'd maybe go for... I'd probably just do... I like a cable lateral raise, so I'd probably do that for some side delts.
Like behind the back?
Yeah, I do love that, yeah. But I'm going to be real cheeky, and I'm just going to basically say that I'm having a cable stack, and I'm doing lateral raises on it, and you can't tell me how to do them. I'm just going to fucking do them how I feel.
Yeah, well, then that's where the variations come from. Yeah,
so
you got about 10 exercises there, yeah.
If I had to pick one, it'd be the cable behind the back one. I like that.
That's my favorite, too.
That's my enjoyment there. So what have I got?
That's one left.
So, what would I go? I think I probably have to do something else for the legs, wouldn't I? I think I'd have to go for like a leg extension for that. My calves are fucking naturally just genetically big, so I don't need to do calf raises and stuff. I used to walk on my toes when I was a kid. That's why I got big calves. It's
the secret.
They call it boxer's walk. I was like, I think it's just didn't really learn how to walk properly when I was a kid, but sure, call me a boxer. That's fine. Yeah, so I'd go leg extension, seated leg curl, RDL, Bulgarian split squat for the lower body. I think that gives me a nice kind of well-rounded sort of approach to things. I could go a little bit stiffer knee with the RDL. I could go a little bit bent knee, more glute, more ham. And then for the upper body, I've got my big upper back row for the rear delts, the traps, the rhomboids. I've got my pull-up for the lats. Then got my preacher curl because I need to bring up my biceps to feel good about myself. I've got my behind-the-back lateral raise for the side delts. And I've got dips in the high incline press for triceps, chest, all that sort of stuff. I think that's where I would go with those. I think that's like a well-rounded sort of thing. Someone's probably going to have a conniption because I didn't say some form of deadlift or some form of thing like that. But
RDL?
But they'll be like, it doesn't count when you're not picking it up off the floor, man. But for me, that's if I'm trying to balance feeling good with enjoying my training with getting jacked, I think that's the 10 that I'd pick. That's a super hard question, actually.
Yeah, it's good though.
It is a good question.
There's a good answer too.
Yeah.
There's a good answers.
Yeah. What are the ones in there that you would switch out?
That I would switch out?
Yeah.
Bulgarians.
That's fair. That's valid.
I'm just not a fan of them. I'll do them.
Yeah.
And I do program them.
Yeah.
But I would more do like a squat. Like I enjoy a squat. I'd probably do like a low bar squat just because it's fun.
Whereas I hate squatting. So that's my thing. Bulgarians always just feel better for me. Just I've had so many knee problems and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I'm not there yet. I haven't had any knee problems yet.
Well, I was there at 18.
But other than that, probably... So that machine that you've done, I haven't tried it, so I can't say yes or no. But I'm kind of at this point where I've been down the whole optimal route, which I love, but I'm kind of coming out of it. To a bit more of the meathead bro energy type. Like, I think at the moment I just feel like lifting kind of heavier stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm really into the pendlay row at the moment.
Oh, nice.
So just from the floor.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of weight, like 2 to 4 reps. I just
Explosive.
just like rip it into my sternum,
Yeah,
put it down, stand up with my hands above my head. Like that's kind of where I'm at for my back training. But I love the dips, the chin ups. Like those are all there. The lateral raises, shoulders. I'm trying to bring up too. So I'd probably take out maybe one leg. Nah, I don't know. I'd probably just have one more lateral raise in somewhere.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Because that's what I'm focusing on. I was also thinking and especially after on the back of your kind of gut health change that you're going through, what are kind of a couple or maybe even just one, like a go-to meal that you have? Okay. Because I find that some people literally don't know what to eat.
Yeah.
Like there's lots of recipe content out there, that we know, but a lot of people are still very lost in terms of like, I've been doing some react videos to like what people eat in a day. And
viral video, bro.
But I personally watch them and I'm like, everyone knows this. Yeah. But then all the comments are like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. Like, oh, that recommendation that you made, I'd never think of, having cottage cheese instead of normal cheese or just, I don't know, just any sort of simple changes. So I feel like in the fitness world, we're kind of like, yeah, that's a healthy meal. We know that. But a lot of people that are walking the streets that aren't into gym yet, that we want to be like, hey, come try it out.
Yeah.
They want some like ideas that they can actually implement.
For sure. To give you kind of like to walk through sort of like a sample day of eating for me, because I eat the same sort of shit every single day pretty much. Feel free to do a reaction video. You got the footage over there.
Go.
Hey, Brock. Brock of the future. So for me, every morning I eat the same breakfast, and I do this because I work from cafes a lot. So for me, the simplest thing to kind of get in a decently healthy meal while balancing my calories and macros is, and I make this at home quite a lot as well. That's why I do it, so that I can kind of balance the two, is I'll have sourdough bread, 2 to 3 eggs, avocado, and then depending on how hungry I am, I'll add some other form of protein to that. So maybe like smoked salmon, or if I'm at home, like some kind of like deli turkey or chicken or something like that.
Nice.
And if I'm at home, I'll generally add like some apple or like some sort of fruit to it. Like apple or blackberries are kind of my go-to, not just because of the fiber count, just because they're 2 of my favorite fruits at the end of the day. Guys listening to this, a lot of these decisions are made with both health and calories in mind, but also just because I like these foods at the end of the day. Like for me, the perfect breakfast is 3 poached eggs, avocado, smoked salmon on sourdough with a coffee. Like it doesn't start any better than that for me. And it just so happens that it's quite a healthy meal, So for me, that's go-to. Generally, I'll then have, before I train, I'll have some fruit. I'll just have like a banana or something. And this is because I usually walk to the gym. It takes me about half an hour to walk to the gym that I train at. Nice. It's a good way for me to get my steps in without like being crazy. Everybody's like, don't you get tired getting to the... No, I can walk.
30 minutes of walk? Yeah. Come on.
People ask me that all the time. And I'm like, no, I don't get tired. Like it gives me an opportunity to eat a banana. I listen to a podcast. I make content ideas on the way and stuff like that. And then I'll train. After training, I always have some form of protein shake, whether I'm making it at home with like just whey and stuff like that, or whether I buy an on the go like Muscle Nation shake or something like that. I just basically have that and I sip on it because usually I film content after I train. So I'll be sipping on that while I'm filming. And this could be extrapolated to if you're in the office at work, you can sip on that while you're working and all that sort of stuff. It's just easy to get in. A lot of the time after training, I don't feel like eating for a couple of hours afterwards because I'm kind of like still, not quite into rest and digest state yet. I'm still quite heightened. Yeah, I'm still quite pumped. And I'm kind of like, well, I don't really want to go and sit down and eat and then get that kind of postprandial lull and just kind of pass out. Sort of thing, like I want to still be productive. And then usually around sort of like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll have a smaller meal, which again is usually just super simple. It's like Greek yogurt with, usually I'll put some form of berry in there, some honey, a little bit of almond butter or peanut butter. There's like a Maver's natural peanut butter with vanilla that I've been really liking at the moment that I put in there. Tried. It's decent. I mix it in with a bit of honey. I have that. And then dinner every night is some form of lean protein, whether it's steak, whether it's chicken. I try not to go fish because I'll usually have smoked salmon in the morning and I don't want to have too much fish in the day just because I'm terrified of all the mercury poisoning propaganda. I listened to One Too Many Tony Robbins podcasts where he talked about it and I was like, fuck, he's like 6'906". If he can get it, I can get it. But I have some form of lean protein and I'll just basically make up that big salad bowl that I was talking about before, which is I just buy a big bag of greens, whatever the cheapest one is. And then I add beetroot because it's super good for gut health, super good for blood flow and circulation as well. I add in sauerkraut or kimchi. I really like both of those. I'll add in, if it's in season, I'll add in pineapple. Pineapple's super good for helping to break down protein. Contains an enzyme called bromelain, which is really, really good for helping to digest protein. So really like that. I'll always add in some feta cheese. I'm a big like goat's cheese guy. I just basically buy, again, whatever's on special. I'm not looking for like the most like natural one ever, but I'll try and get one that's not too, that doesn't look like it's that kind of like that's not cheese anymore sort of thing. Chuck a bit of that in there. Some kind of like lower calorie dressing and stuff. I always mix in, I'm on like a big like tzatziki thing at the moment. So I'll have like, so at the moment I'm having some more sourdough with that, and I like spread the tzatziki on it, and I kind of almost make like a little sandwich with the protein sauce.
Nice.
I have that with like the salad. But like, yeah, sometimes it might be rice. Sometimes I might have pasta or whatever. And then after dinner, that's kind of my like, I've usually got 300 calories left or whatever. Like I maintain on 3,300.
I was going to say, it sounds like you got a pretty decent amount.
Yeah. So I'll like generally like be able to kind of have something afterwards that I enjoy basically at that point. So for me, that might be, for a while it was those Chobani flip yogurts. And then all their products got recalled for like plastic shit. And I was like, fuck.
I stopped eating them recently. I got addicted to those flip things. I remember when I first had it, I ate 4 in one day.
Oh dude, they're so good.
They're so
good. And there's like a cinnamon bun one that's like, it's good. Cause I love yochi. Like, so for me, anything that's kind of like a budget yochi thing, I just like, I do that. But yeah, that's like a day of eating for me. It's super simple, super basic. I like my 2 bigger meals kind of bookending my day, like a bigger breakfast, bigger dinner. During the day, I'm usually super busy with client stuff, filming, all that sort of thing. So it's like, I don't really get hungry. But yeah, that's kind of what I would eat. But I guess really, my friend Dave, who I talked about before, he has this really cool saying that I really, really like when it comes to like designing your meals. And it's basically eat like a vegetarian and add protein.
Nice.
So, whatever it is, like make a big salad or get a bunch of veggies in, get like your sort of like quinoa rice bowl, whatever it is, and then just add steak or add chicken or add turkey or add fish. Or if you are vegetarian, add tofu or tempeh or something like that, add beans. That way you get all these micronutrients in, you get all the health. And if you're having like 2 meals like that a day, even, like overnight oats or something like that, get some fruit in there, get some chia seeds in there, get some stuff that's good for the gut. Because you have 2 or 3 meals like that a day, it really does not matter if you eat a donut or you eat some chocolate or you eat some ice cream. That's not going to fuck your gut health. It's not going to throw you off too much. It's more if you're eating 4 ice creams a day and 1 meal that's kind of health conscious, whereby things are going to be a little bit awry. You know what I mean?
That's solid.
Yeah, that's kind of what I look at. And then that helps me too, because if I'm traveling, if I'm going somewhere, you're going to find a cafe that does eggs and toast. You know what I mean? And here in Australia, especially, they all do avocado. But like when I was in the UK, it was like just getting eggs and toast. And then I would go to a supermarket afterwards and I'd buy an apple or I'd buy some fruit or whatever to get some fiber, or like when I was in Japan, it was kind of like, we just didn't really eat breakfast because we were kind of like, they don't have a big like brunch culture over there. So it was like, cool, we'll then eat later on in the day and we'll kind of think about those things, and we've got more calories to play with as well, which is cool. But kind of the way that I try and structure it out is that it's like having a bigger meal a couple of times a day, more snacks and stuff, means that if I am traveling, that sort of like fits in with that as well. Or if I am busy with work, it fits in with that. I'm not having to cook for like 40 minutes 3 times a day or anything like that.
And that's such an underrated thing to do, like just something that's applicable to your life every day. Like you don't want to have this healthy thing, this optimal lifestyle that you try to do that you never really achieve.
Because how optimal is that? Really?
Exactly.
You're trying to be Brian Johnson too, and like, I hate these fucking morning routines, man. It's like going to have an ice bath, do a sauna, all that sort of shit. I'm like, fuck off, man. Like, I roll out of bed, I take a piss, I brush my teeth, I have a shower, I then think about, do I need my coffee yet? And if I don't, then I'll do some emails, then I'll go get coffee, or I'll go get a coffee while I do my emails, and I'm awake, I'm happy, I'm alive, I'm good. I don't need all this other shit. It's fine.
I agree. I actually thought about this question yesterday. I didn't send it to you, sorry. But it's just a quick one. As a science-based, science-backed dude that's looking at literature and stuff, what's something that you do that doesn't really make sense? Like when it comes to the gym. Like something that isn't evidence-based. Like something that you don't learn in like a study. So for example, a small thing that I do, and it's kind of not really related to training, but it kind of is at the same time, but I like training to ballads.
Okay.
So I'll listen to like slow music while I train.
Yeah.
Like most of the research actually says if you have more up tempo, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something about.
But
I think I like the emotion of like the singers.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean, like the grit, or like John Legend's voice, or like Adele's voice, or you know like things like that. Not to get too musical, but like that's something that kind of doesn't make sense. I was trying to think of other examples as well, but like there's some things that we do as trainers that we kind of just pick up along the way sometimes.
Yeah.
That we do that. It's like, why are you doing that? It's like, oh, it's just something that I do. Like before I bench, I put my nose on the bar. Okay. Like I kind of like set my scaps in place. I come up, my nose touches the bar, and then I do my press.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't make sense. It's kind of like the Johnny Wilkinson, you know, like hands out in front when he does a kick.
Yeah, the superstition.
Yeah,
sort of
it's kind of like that. That's what I have. But I was just curious if you have any of those because, you know, you've been in gyms a ton. You might have picked up some things along the way.
I have superstitions. Like I have a superstition that I won't train legs in long pants.
That's good.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be a rule.
No, but that was because I got injured. The one time I trained legs in long pants when I was younger, I hurt myself squatting. And I just decided never to do it again. It was like a superstition sort of thing. I don't know what I do that doesn't necessarily make sense. Like,
or maybe everything just makes sense to you. Like everything you do is calculated. Maybe.
Well, I think this is the thing, right? It's like I prefer to think of myself more as just like evidence based rather than science based. Like I don't sit there reading studies all day. I don't fucking understand them. You know what I mean? It's like I'm very fortunate that I have a lot of friends who understand this stuff. So what I'll generally do is I'll take studies and I'll read through them if I feel like there's a point that needs to be made, or if I see research that I think is really interesting and stuff. And I'm like, I'll read it to my level and then I'll send it to my friend and I'll be like, hey, this is what I think this is kind of said. Am I right? Sort of thing. And they'll read through it and they'll go, yeah, it's this or it's this or it's this sort of thing. You know, I'm lucky. I have a few friends who are very much like either medical backgrounds or like, you know, they've got doctorates and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, cool. So for me, it's more kind of like evidence in terms of like, what do I see anecdotally with my own eyes over almost a decade of coaching people and training myself. Plus, what does the research tell us when I read it and I read through these things? And listen, I'm smart enough to understand some of it. A lot of the nutrition stuff just goes straight over my head and everything. But I don't know. I think the biggest thing that I do that doesn't make sense is I fluctuate my, like everybody tells you that you've got to have like specific variations that you stick to all the time, right? Whereas for me, I'm like, if I go to the gym, I want to do a cable behind the back lateral raise and the cables are taken, let's go do dumbbell. Like, I don't care. Like, cool, I didn't progress on the cables this week, but I still did a lateral raise and I still did heavier than I did last time on dumbbells. That probably counts for something. You know what I mean? Or like if the preacher curl is taken because somebody's doing GVT on the fucking preacher curl, 10 sets of 10.
I've done that before.
Yeah, so have I. I've been that guy. It's like, cool, I'll just go grab a dumbbell and I'll do a dumbbell preacher curl and I'll set it up to a similar resistance profile. I think that's the biggest thing that I do that quote unquote doesn't make sense. But even then that makes sense because I'm still I'm thinking in movement patterns, but a lot of people would tell you, no, you have to be like straight on the stick to the program, maybe just move the order around if you have to or wait and stuff. Whereas for me, I'm like, fuck that. Like, let me just, you know, I've got 45 minutes in my brain where I'm focused on training and then I'm off to la la land again. So I'm like, cool, let's do that. I don't know. I think most of this, because I think so much of it, like you said before with the music thing, maybe it doesn't make sense to some people, but it makes sense to you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So a lot of it is kind of like that, right? It's like, for me, I think the biggest thing was when I first started getting into learning more about biomechanics and programming and all this sort of stuff that really your clients don't need to know, but you should know on some level. It was like, I was looking for this one optimal way to do everything. Whereas now I've kind of realized like optimal is just a point of view. And it really is like an N of one experience to everyone. And it's kind of like, for some people, an incline dumbbell press is going to be the optimal upper chest exercise. For some people, they fucking suck at incline dumbbell pressing. But then you put them on a fixed implement like a Smith machine or a machine, all of a sudden they're super good at it and they're able to connect with their upper chest, all that sort of stuff. It's like, I don't know, man. I guess like in the optimal science-based crowd with what's going around Instagram, like I don't seatbelt and carabiner myself to every fucking exercise.
That's where you're going wrong. That's where you're going wrong, I tell you.
I don't know, man. I'm sorry I can't give you a better answer to that. I just think, because I think to me all these things make sense. Yeah. Like to me, I'm kind of like, I do. I guess along a similar vein, like I don't listen to music that a lot of people would listen to when they train. Like, you know, I'm a big Sleep Token fan. I listen to a lot of Sleep Token.
Is that death metal?
Well,
I don't know Sleep Token.
They're quote unquote metal, but like a lot of it is like this slow build kind of stuff, like very like they're I don't know,
like cinematic almost.
Yeah,
or?
very cinematic.
Right.
Like, I think the only thing metal about them is that some of their songs have breakdowns and screaming in them. But like some of their songs, it's just kind of like, I don't even know what genre I'd even call them. But like, I love them. They're really, really good. They're really experimental. Muse are my favorite band of all time. So anything experimental and kind of weird, I'm like, yes, give that to me.
Right.
But like I listen to a lot of their music when I'm training, and like a lot of their stuff is super slow build-ups and everything. And it's like, and I'll listen to that super slow build-up while I'm training, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, this is good. I'm vibing.
Yeah, that's what I'm
like,
kind of. Yeah, you know. I think sometimes because I train at like around 3 or 4.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, that's when I feel pretty good and when time kind of allows. My brain's just a bit like gone.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sometimes I just can't handle lyrics, and I can't handle because I used to train with audiobooks and podcasts sometimes, and now I'm just like, I'll have it on 30 minutes ago, and I'll be like, haven't digested one word. I don't even know the topic. You know what I mean? Huberman's just like in my ear, and I'm like, oh, okay. So now I just like, I'll sometimes put ballads on, and then even at the moment, like yesterday I trained with like these focus waves on, like beta waves.
Oh yeah. I work to that stuff.
Yeah, I work to it too. Like, and I was just like, I just need to kind of like empty the brain and like go over thoughts and or I'll put on soundtracks to movies. Yeah, I've got this playlist. Yeah, anyway, but I kind of like it does make sense to me. Like your thing makes sense to you, but externally sometimes people are like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Or even silence sometimes. I've trained a couple times to silence, and I'm just like,
I can't do that.
Okay.
I can't do that. I can't work in silence. Like
working in silence for me is difficult because my brain just goes.
Same, bro. Like my brain is always fucking firing. So it's like I need sound. So I'll be at home and it'll be on the lowest volume. Like it'll be like a 1 out of 100 on my speaker. But I can hear a slight drone of like the fucking Star Wars soundtrack or like
the Mandalorian one's pretty good.
Yeah, dude. Lord of the Rings as well. Lord of the Rings is the one for me, dude. Like. But it's like I can just hear the slight drone of that. I've had clients before be like in a check-in, they're like, "Hey, thanks for the feedback. What the fuck were you listening to?" And I'm like,
"What are you meditating to?"
Yeah, I'm like, bro, I just need sound, man. Like, but I can't focus on multiple conversations at once. So like for me, even with training, like I tried doing podcasts for a while because I know a few friends like Mark sometimes trains to podcasts and stuff, but I couldn't do it because I'm always having a conversation with myself in my head while I'm training. I'm like, right, what weight do I need to do? I need to do this. I need to do that. Am I filming this? No, I'm not filming this. Am I in his way? I'm in his way. I'm going to move that. Like my brain's constantly talking to itself all the time. My inner dialogue just does not shut the fuck up. So it's like when I'm doing that sort of stuff, I can't do the podcast.
You'll have 3 voices in your head.
Yeah. And I'm kind of like, oh my God, but the voices make them stop. But the soundtrack thing, I love that. I absolutely love it. I like the cinematic kind of like epic shit.
Yeah,
like,
builds. Yeah. I'm all about
Give
that.
me Hans Zimmer any day.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer. Yeah. Hans Zimmer, sorry. Okay, final 3 questions. I've had you for quite a while. A book, a quote, and something you do every day to make yourself better, self-improve.
Okay. The book, Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey.
Haven't read it.
Oh, mate, fantastic. But honestly, though, I would recommend to every single person listen to the audiobook just so you get that sweet southern drawl. Because he narrates it, and dude, like, honestly, his voice is so soothing. Like, if you're ever having a panic attack or an anxiety attack, this is not like proper legitimate medical advice. But I think if you listen to Matthew McConaughey, you might be okay, to be honest. I know I am. Such a good book, man. Like, he's a fascinating human. He's a fascinating guy. And like a lot of it obviously is life stories. But I love the mantra around it of the red light, green light sort of thought process. So everything that he's doing, he's basically relaying these stories with the idea of being like, when you think about this, when you think about the potential risk that this could bring you and the potential reward, is it a red light? Is it a green light? And if it's a green light, you fucking run through that green light as fast as you can, off the mark, let's go. Like speed at it, leave nothing to waste, and just go after what it is that you want. But if it's a red light, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it ever again. Put it away, put it to one side. Do not regret the decision you've made. Make that decision, stop right there, and take a different way, basically. And for me, that's been the last couple of years. I read it when I had COVID in 2021, and I finished it in like 3 days. And it's been like, for me, just a huge thing of, I look at every decision that I make for my business, for my personal life, for myself, and I think, is this a green light or a red light? Should I stop and think about this and get rid of it, or should I just go at it, sort of thing? And you know what a green light is fairly instinctively, and you kind of start to learn that. And once you start being able to tap into that instinct, I find that it's super powerful, and you can just go. And I'll be honest with you, there's been nothing that I've done the last 12 months especially where I've like sat there, instinctively done something and then regretted it. Like, you know, I'm pretty like, being able to apply that has just been super, super good. The quote, I actually have it on my phone here. It's a similar sort of like vein. It's from, I'm a big Liverpool Football Club fan, which has been horrific this season. It was great last season, but it's been horrific. But our old manager, Jurgen Klopp, has this great quote where I believe this was from Liverpool had just lost 3-0 in the Champions League semi-final to Barcelona. And they basically needed a miracle to get through to the next round. Like, this was the first leg. They rock up to Anfield, their home ground, to play Barcelona, 3-0 down. They need at least 4 goals and not to concede. Mohamed Salah, their best player, is out with a concussion. Roberto Firmino, their striker, is out as well.
Right.
So they've got like this heavily rotated team. They've got a midfielder playing at left back, so in the defense and stuff. It just does not look like a promising sort of thing. In the end, they score in the 7th minute, and it's like, okay, maybe the comeback's on. And then they come out after halftime, and they send on one of their midfielders, and they like sub off like one of their other defenders and stuff. They just go, we're just going to go at it. We're going to give this a go. They score 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes on the other side of halftime to make it 3-3 on aggregate. And then 15 minutes, I think it is, from the end of the game, they take a corner. It's a corner taken quickly, like super like famous commentary tag. And they catch Barcelona completely napping, and they score the 4th goal. And they hold on, and they win 4-3 on aggregate. They go to the final, and they win 2-0. And they win the Champions League. And then the next year, they win the Premier League for the first time in 30 years. So the first time in my lifetime winning that trophy. And there was an interview with Jurgen Klopp, the manager, where he got asked about all of this afterwards. And he basically, I think it was after they'd won the Premier League, and they basically said to him, like, if that Barcelona game hadn't have happened, you wouldn't have won the Champions League, and you probably wouldn't have won the Premier League the next year, because the team would have been so dejected. They'd lost the Champions League final the year beforehand. They would have been so dejected. And he said, yeah, 100%. And they said to him, like, what did you say, like, in the dressing room beforehand? What was their, like, big speech? And he said, I just said one sentence. He said, just try. If we can do it, wonderful. If not, then we fail in the most beautiful way possible. And I love it, because it's basically just saying that failure can still be beautiful if you make the most of it. You know what I mean? And it's like, if they'd gone out there and they'd played their hearts out and they'd like won the game 3-0 and then lost on penalties, nobody could be mad at them. Because sure, they failed the objective in the end, but they got so much out of that, and they gave their all, and they still pushed as hard as they possibly could to the final whistle. And they know then, in that circumstance, as much as it didn't go their way, they are capable of doing amazing things. And they just have to pick themselves up and they go again. And I love that. And that's been a big thing for me with the fitness industry. There's been plenty of times where I've wanted to crash out. Plenty of times where I thought this was it. 18 months ago, I'm sitting in the Gold Coast talking to 2 of my clients who are both personal trainers. And I said to them, like, I think I'm done. Genuinely, I think I'm going to walk away. I think I can't do this anymore. It's stressing me out. It's fucking up my relationship that I was in at the time, all this sort of stuff. I don't know if I can do this anymore, sort of thing. And then I just told myself, like, just one more go. Like, one more go. 18 months later, I'm still here. My business is in the best place it's ever been. So my social media's grown, all that sort of stuff. And it's like, sometimes you just have to give yourself that opportunity to fail. And you never know what's going to happen, basically. What was the other one?
One thing you do every day.
One thing I do every day. Coffee.
Cold brew? Yeah.
No, so I have I don't necessarily do it like this every single day, but I have like a little ritual that I do when I go for walks, where I give myself a voice note journal. So I suck at journaling. I suck at writing things down, but I'll go for a walk and I'll plug my headphones in, and just for like 5 minutes, I'll just kind of check in with myself. And I'm like, hey, what's bothering you? Like, why do you feel so anxious today? What's going on? And I almost approach it like a little like self-therapy session and just kind of get shit out, because like I'm terrible at talking about what bothers me with those around me. Like, it's something that I think everybody should be better at and should be doing, but I'm terrible at it myself as well. It kind of takes people to approach and ask me that question before I talk about it. I'm more likely to ask other people how they're doing. So asking myself, how am I doing? Checking in with myself and kind of voice noting it. It gives me the opportunity to kind of take everything that's in my brain and just kind of unload it, get it out a little bit. I guess it is the same thing as journaling when you have the prompts and stuff.
Yeah,
I
I think so.
suck at sitting down and writing and stuff. So for me, I like to say it into a voice note, and then I kind of listen to it back, and I'm like, okay, cool. What can I control about this situation? What can I change? What can I not? Is this a problem? Is this going to be a problem? Like, all that sort of stuff. And just kind of helps me actualize these things a little bit more, and kind of, just make them real, but also give me the solutions that I need and stuff. And it just kind of grounds me a little bit.
I think that's great. I have a similar thing where I'll just, well, kind of like not talking it out. I like that idea though. Sometimes I'll just talk to myself out loud and not record it. But,
Yeah.
But just kind of giving space. I used to like, because I found that my brain's kind of similar to yours, where it's like, if there's silence or something, I always try to cover it. And my wife's always like, you need to kind of just like be with your thoughts for a bit. And I was like, that sounds too hippie. Like I'm not a hippie. Yeah. You know, like I don't need that advice. I need to learn and be productive and win in life. You know?
It's like, come on, forward.
Yeah. But that's kind of why I've been leaning more into like instrumental music, to just kind of like get content ideas, figure out why I'm maybe frustrated that day. I just feel like the kind of emptying of the brain, we're not really doing that as much with like content around. We're always watching things, we're always listening to things, we're always digesting things, consuming things, and there's less kind of like production of thoughts, or just kind of like managing the thoughts. So I feel you on that one. So is there any place you want to send people? Like, where's the best people to find you? Is it Instagram?
Yeah, just head to the Instagram, Jack Hallows Fitness. Everything else is kind of linked there. You know, coaching and stuff goes through there. All my other social medias go through there. We get onto YouTube heavy next year. So
yeah, nice.
But that'll be I'll be posting that all over the Instagram as well. Just come hang out, Jack Hallows Fitness. Come and watch me trigger people with my content.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah, I've been I've seen a couple of your videos pop up. I love it. It's really good to see like some, like, I know you said you're not evidence-based, but just like legit evidence. So not evidence, legit content. That's just like helpful. And you're using examples, like you posted your mum's transformation, the 1300 calories one. And I think it's just so good. It's rare. You know, unfortunately, a lot of content that gets heaps of hype and views and all that is sending crazy messages. That's not really what we want to be seen. So it's good, man. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Nice to meet you today.
I appreciate you having me as well.
Thanks, brother.
Cheers, bro.